Hello everyone, my name is Anitsu and I'm back with another Digimon gameplay video. So today I'm going to be piloting a test deck of what I'm thinking about playing for Imperialdramon in blue, and my friend is going to be piloting a red Ragnaloardmon deck. So this is a best 2 out of 3, so let's just get right into the matches. Alright, going into game 1, my opponent is going to start. He flips over his Digitama, it's a Digimon, then he Digivolves it into an Agumon, draws a card for Digivolving, and then Digivolves it again into Dark Tyrannomon, drawing for Digivolving, setting me at 1, passing the turn over to me. I flip over my Digitama, it's a Demi-Vmon, Digivolve it into Vmon, drawing another card, Digivolve it again into Gorillamon, drawing a card for Digivolving. Then I'm going to be playing a Vulcan's Hammer to gain 1 memory, and then Digivolve into Bastimon to put my opponent at 1, and passing the turn over to him after drawing for Digivolving. He starts his turn by drawing, chooses not to move his Digimon out of the raising area, and instead Digivolves into Ragnaloardmon, drawing a card and passing the turn over to me. I move Bastimon out of the raising area and Digivolve it into a Leopardmon. Using Leopardmon's when Digivolved ability, I get to remove a level 4 from his Digivolution stack, and then he will gain jamming as long as Leopardmon is on the field. And then I pass the turn over to my opponent after drawing for Digivolving. My opponent starts, he draws a card, moves Ragnaloardmon out of the raising area, and then he Digivolves it into a Durandamon. Draws a card for Digivolving, and then he plays a Zubamon to check the top 5 to see if he has a Ragnaloardmon and a Royal Arms, and adds both to his hand. So he hits both of them. A Boilerludramon as the Royal Arms, and the Ragnaloardmon as the Ragnaloardmon. And then the rest of the cards go to the bottom. And then he passes the turn over to me. So I draw, flip over my Digitama. Unfortunately, I don't have a level 3 to Digivolve into, so instead I'm going to attack his security with jamming on Gorillamon. And then I attack his security with Leopardmon. And then I'm going to play an Ice Wolfclaw on the Durandamon to bounce it back to the hand, and then all of his Digivolution sources go to the trash. And then my opponent starts his turn, flips over his Digitama, Digivolves it into an Agumon, draws a card, Digivolves his Zubamon into a Cordramon, draws a card, Digivolves his Agumon into a Greymon, draws a card, then Digivolves his Greymon into Ragnaloardmon, draws a card, and then passes the turn over to me. So I stand all of my Digimon, making them active. I swing at his security with Gorillamon with jamming. Then I swing at his security with Leopardmon. Unfortunately, I hit a Boilerludramon, so my Leopardmon goes to the trash. Then I play a Vulcan's Hammer to gain +1 memory, and then use it to set a Davis. Then Davis's ability lets me check the top 3, add a blue and green Digimon from among them into my hand, and then the rest go to the bottom. So I take Gabumon as I really need to see a rookie, and then I pass the turn over to my opponent. He draws for his turn, moves Ragnaloardmon out of the raising area, swings at my Gorillamon to clear it off the field, and then Digivolves it into Durandamon. And then passes the turn over to me after drawing for Digivolving. Skill of Davis will activate at the start of my turn, setting my memory to 3. Then I Digivolve my Digitama into Vmon, draw a card for Digivolving. Digivolve my Vmon into a Gorillamon, draw for Digivolving. And then I'm going to play a Gabumon to draw for his on-play ability. And then pass the turn over to my opponent. My opponent draws, flips over his Digitama, Digivolves his Digitama into Cordramon to draw a card. Then he Digivolves his Durandamon into Ragnaloardmon. Using Ragnaloardmon's ability, he'll add a Boilerludramon from his hand onto its Digivolution stack, so he gains +3 memory. And then he's going to have Ragnaloardmon swing at my security Security check reveals an Omnimon, so unfortunately he does not have enough DP to clear my Omnimon, so his Ragnaloardmon is destroyed and he does not get any of the additional security checks. So he's just going to Digivolve his Monodramon into a Cordramon and then pass the turn over to me. So Davis's skill set my memory to 3. I draw a card for my turn and move Gorillamon out of my raising area. Next, I Digivolve Gorillamon into Imperialdramon, drawing a card for Digivolving. And then I'll have Imperialdramon swing at my opponent's security with Jamming. And then I'm going to Digivolve my Gabumon into a Grizzlymon and pass the turn over to my opponent. He draws, he moves his Cordramon out of the raising area. Then he is going to play a Greymon and then pass the turn over to me. I draw, flip over my Digitama, Digivolve it into Gomamon. I'm going to swing at his security with Imperialdramon. He is forced to block with one of his blockers. And then I'm going to Digivolve it into Imperialdramon, using Imperialdramon's ability to stand him up, and then swing at his security. And then Imperialdramon's ability will stand him up again. And then I get all of the draws and abilities off of my evolution stack, and then I'm able to swing for game. Alright, my opponent is going to be going first into game number 2. So he's going to start by flipping over his Digitama, Digivolving it into an Agumon, drawing a card for Digivolving, then Digivolving it again into Dark Tyrannomon, drawing a card and passing the turn over to me. I draw, flip over my Digitama, Digivolve it into Gomamon, drawing a card, then Digivolving again into Vidramon, drawing a card, and I think I accidentally gave my opponent one too much memory, so we'll see how that spirals out of control from here. So he starts his turn by drawing, moving Dark Tyrannomon out of the raising area. Then he's going to set a tie and pass the turn over to me. I draw, move Vidramon out of the raising area, use Vulcan's Hammer to gain +1 memory, to play a Imperialdramon to draw a card. Then I'm going to be setting a Davis, and looking at the top using Davis's on-play ability, so I just add the blue Digimon to my hand, and then the rest go to the bottom. And then I pass the turn over to my opponent. He starts by drawing, flips over a Digitama, Digivolves it into an Agumon, draws a card. Then he Digivolves his Dark Tyrannomon into Duramon, drawing a card. Then he Digivolves it into Dark Tyrannomon to draw a card. And then he Digivolves again into Boiarludramon, drawing a card and passing the turn over to me. So I flip over my Digitama. I Digivolve into Gabumon, drawing a card for Digivolving. Next, I swing at his security with Imperialdramon. Reveal a Terra Force, so unfortunately my Digimon gets destroyed due to Terra Force's security ability. Then I am going to play a Imperialdramon and pass the turn over to my opponent. So he starts his turn by drawing, moves Dark Tyrannomon out of the raising area, Digivolves it into a Ragnaloardmon, drawing a card for Digivolving, then revealing that he has another Legend Arms level 6, so he puts that into its Digivolution source to gain +3 memory. Then he's going to Digivolve into Lavogaradimon to draw a card, swings at my security with Ragnaloardmon, so first security check, then his security attack +1, then inheritable security attack +1, then Taichi's security attack +1. He wins all of the checks. Then he's going to play a Zubamon, and then he's going to check the top 5. He finds a Ragnaloardmon, and then the rest go onto the bottom, and then he's going to pass the turn over to me. So Skill of Davis will set me to 3. I draw a card. Reboot skill activates, standing up Ragnaloardmon, move Gabumon out of raising area, swing at his security with Gabumon. He's going to take the security hit. Unfortunately, I lose the security check, so Gabumon goes away. Then I play a Vmon, and then I Digivolve into Imperialdramon, passing the turn over to my opponent. So my opponent draws, flips over his Digitama, Digivolves it into a Biomon, draws a card for Digivolving, swings at my security with Zubamon. We trade in the security check, and then he swings at me directly with Ragnaloardmon for the game. Alright, I'm going to go first going into game 3. So I'm going to start off by flipping over my Digitama, Digivolving it into Vmon, drawing a card, then Digivolving again into Gorillamon, drawing a card, and passing the turn over to my opponent. My opponent starts his turn by drawing, flipping over his Digitama, Digivolving it into an Agumon, drawing a card. Then he is going to play a Zubamon, so that way he gets the on-play ability to look at the top 5 to try to find a Legend Arms and or Ragnaloardmon and add them to his hand. So he finds Legend Arms, and then the rest go to the bottom. And then he passes the turn over to me. So I start by drawing, moving Gorillamon out of my raising area. I'm going to Digivolve him into Imperialdramon, drawing a card and passing the turn over to my opponent. He's going to start by drawing a card. He's going to elect not to move his Digimon out of the raising area and instead Digivolve it into a Greymon and pass the turn over to me after drawing for Digivolving. So I start my turn by drawing, flipping over a Digitama, Digivolving it into a Vmon to draw a card. Then I'm going to attack his security with my Imperialdramon with jamming. So it's a Digimon, so that means I just automatically win the security check. And then I'm going to play a Davis to look at the top 3 to add a blue and green Digimon from among them into my hand. And then the rest go to the bottom. So I only find a blue Digimon. And then I pass the turn over to the opponent. He starts by drawing, moves Greymon out of the raising area, Digivolves it into Ragnaloardmon, draws a card. He's going to have Zubamon swing at my security. I win the security check, so he takes it away. And then he does not attack at my Imperialdramon with his Ragnaloardmon and instead plays a Taichi. So I'm going to have my Imperialdramon swing at his security. Then I'm going to Digivolve it into Imperialdramon. And then Imperialdramon's ability will make him become active. I get to use the abilities of my Digivolution source, and then I'm going to swing at his security. Again, with jamming, stand him up due to Imperialdramon's ability, swing at his security again. Then I'm going to Digivolve into Grizzlymon to draw a card and pass the turn over to my opponent. My opponent starts his turn by drawing. He's going to Digivolve into a Durandamon, draws a card for Digivolving. Then he's going to Digivolve into a Ragnaloardmon. And then he shows another Durandamon, so he gets to put that in the Digivolution source to gain 3 memory. Then he's going to swing at my Imperialdramon. I'm going to block with my Grizzlymon, and then piercing damage is going to take place. So first security check, second security check, third security check, fourth security check. He ends up winning them all. Then he's going to play Terraforce to get rid of my Imperialdramon. And then he's going to stand his Ragnaloardmon up for reboot. So going into my turn, I draw. I flip over my Digitama. Then I Digivolve into Vmon, draw a card for Digivolving. Digivolve into Gorillamon. Then I'm going to play a Grizzlymon. Then I'm going to play a Vulcan's Hammer to play a Gabumon to draw a card, and then Digivolve into Imperialdramon to draw another card, and pass the turn over my opponent. My opponent flips over his Digitama, Digivolves it into an Agumon, draws a card, swings at me with Piercing. Unfortunately, Piercing does not allow him to win the game, so instead he's going to play a Imperialdramon and pass the turn over to me. So I start by drawing, moving Imperialdramon out of the raising area, swing with Imperialdramon, he's forced to block, then Digivolve into Imperialdramon. All of my Digivolution sources will start to activate. So I'll draw a card and then stand up Imperialdramon, drawing another card off of the Digivolution sources, then swing at his security, stand due to Imperialdramon's ability, and swing again for the game. So both of these decks are really, really strong. Ragnaloardmon is able just to do a whole bunch of damage in red all at once, so it could be very, very brutal and very, very devastating. And then with Imperialdramon, he's just able to consistently get a whole bunch of multiple attacks off, which definitely is a very, very powerful thing paired up with the jamming ability, so that way you'll almost always win the security checks against the opponent's Digimon. So both of these decks are both very, very strong and very, very fun, and I'm definitely looking forward to testing with them some more to get a more definitive deck list down for each of them. So, as always, feel free to tell me your thoughts and point out any misplays down in the comments below. And as always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content, and I'll see you in the next video.